Hey everyone, I'm Alf Loki, and today is April 29th, 2022. Yesterday was National Superhero Day, and I am a bit late. With that being said, I decided to start off with a superhero comic book, and it is of a superhero that is very well known for everyone. And that superhero, his name is Superman. He was created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Forgive me if I butchered that last part, but as I was saying, the Superman character was actually the second superhero. He was made in 1938. The character that was the superhero that had beaten him was, believe it or not, the Phantom. He was played by Billy Zane in the movie The Phantom of the same name, and he was made in 1936. I should also clarify, that's the comic, not the movie. But anyway, back to the Superman character. He is well known by many of people that have played him. And one of them, one of the most famous ones, and the first one that I've ever known, is Christopher Reeves. Sorry, I misspoke. It is Christopher Reeve, not Reeves. The other guy was George Reeves, and he has no relation actually, and was a Superman in one of the series, one of the mini series that Superman has had. But anyway, back to the story or the book. It's actually Volume 1, Superman Earth 1. Now, believe it or not, this was actually the first graphic novel of Superman that I've ever gotten, and I actually quite like it. It's a cool retelling. It's more of a Earth 1 storyline, I guess you could say. But it's an interesting story. And with that, the author that actually wrote the story was J. Michael... I may butcher the last name, but it is Straczynsky. Not Y, I. Straczynski, I believe. And the pencil is by Sean Davis. Ink, Sandra Hope. Colors by Barbara Ciardo. Lettered by Rob Lai. And, Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. And in this one, the Earth 1 one, he is actually a little bit different from the Superman that we actually know and love. To start off, I will read the back of the book, where it's like a little introduction and summary of what we will be getting into. To start off with, Clark Kent is different. He can fly, he can see through walls, burn objects with his gaze. He is a god among mortals, but he is alone and without a purpose. Like most 20-year-olds, he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He can choose from anything: sports, science, finance, or media. The sky's the limit if he conceals his powers and his true identity from the world. But when the skies are darkened with ships from distant planets and the existence of Earth... And the existence of Earth itself is threatened. Oh, okay. My bad. Clark must make the most important decision of his life: to reveal himself to the world, sacrificing his chance for a normal life, or let the world die around him. Sorry for messing that up. It confused me just a little bit on a part of it. Now, writer J. Michael Straczynski tells the modern-day story of the lone survivor of a planet Krypton and his struggles to save mankind from the very alien force that destroyed his home world. J. Michael is joined by artist Shane Davis, and it also has brackets or parentheses. You know what? Parentheses, my bad. For Green Lantern, Straczynski presents a very different kind of Superman. So with reading the back, we can tell that it is a very different approach on Superman himself. Also, to give you guys a little bit of a picture of what he looks like, Superman, the character in this story, he kind of looks like a mix of the comic book, the recent ones. Well, not too recent. The ones a little bit before Rebirth and New 52, like post-crisis, I guess you would say, for the new Infinite Crisis. And if that's confusing, I'm sorry, but yeah, a lot of the comics are really confusing nowadays. And you can't tell what's number one. It's always like 50 billion different number ones. But for me, I don't really care about that. It's if the story's good, then I'm going to read it. And if it doesn't appeal to me, then I probably won't read it. Now, enough of the babbling, and let's get into the story. The opening scene has you being able to see Clark Kent waiting on a train. Why he's waiting on a train? We don't know. Let's find out. As Clark Kent is waiting for the train to be able to go to Metropolis, he thinks back between the conversation he had with him and his mother. His mother starts to speak to him. I still don't understand why you're taking the train when you can... Clark just gives her a look, like she should already know. As he rolls his eyes, he says, "Flying's too fast, Mom." Scene changes, and he's inside the train. I want to take the time. I need time to think. She looks at him with a motherly look. You've had years to think about this, Clark. He looks at her and speaks in a response that a son would give. I know, Mom, but this is different. And he's in Metropolis as he says and thinks, this is real. Scene transitions as he's walking through the city and he comes across a motel. I misspoke. The Metropolis Hotel, and he speaks with the landlady. So, how long do you figure on staying, Mr. Kent? He walks into the room looking at it, and then speaks, Don't know yet. She responds with, I can get you a lower rate if you're planning to stay at least a month. He still just stands there and says, Don't know yet. She responds with, So you're saying you don't know yet? And he just agrees, saying, Don't know yet. She then looks at him and says, You're planning on going to Metropolis University. She speaks, asking him a question. He responds with an answer, Not really. I graduated from Smallville Junior College this past November. That's as far as I'm planning to go at the moment. She just looks at him and talks. My son Eddie graduated from Metro JC 2 years ago. Figured he didn't need to go any further either. He works part-time at the Arby's down the street. She starts to head out the door. Well, you gotta decide what you want to do with your life. Other people can't do it for you. Let me know when you decide whether or not you're staying on. And he just responds with a nonchalant, I will, thanks. Then she speaks. Just be careful walking around this part of town after dark. Scene changes as he's walking down a street later on in the night, ignoring her warning, because he is the Man of Steel that isn't known yet. And as he's walking down a street, he remembers the last part she says, It gets kinda dicey around here some nights. As he's walking, he looks inside a diner and sees many people sitting there, having fun, talking amongst one another. After he watches a few people talk and laugh and have fun, he puts his hood up and walks on. And as he heads down an alleyway, he hears a man say, Hey! Wallet, watch, phone, move it! And then Clark looks at him with glowing eyes. I think you should put the gun down and walk away. Then he gets a closer look at his face. And the man says, Ooh, scary contact lenses. Big frickin' deal. As he looks at him and holds the gun to his face, Clark is not having it. As the man is pointing the gun in his face, he says, Now hand over the... Ah! As he screams, he was interrupted by Clark shooting him with his laser vision. Not enough to kill him, but enough to singe his hair off. I also assume it melts the gun and doesn't, kill him. It's kind of weird when you look at it. This is actually a graphic novel I'm reading from, and I'm describing it to you. And what ends up happening is the gun is gone in the next two panels. And I assume that it just melts away and it singes off his hair. That's really it. And then he responds, after his hair being burned off, "Son of a, kill you for that, where'd you..." Then he looks up and Clark is gone and he says, "Go." As the scenery begins to change, there's a little box at the end of the panel that says, "I want to thank everyone for coming today." And as the scene changes, Clark is actually trying out for the Metropolis football team. Now back with what the coach was saying. "And just be patient. We'll run through the general tryouts as fast as we can, then work with our potential picks more closely tomorrow and Wednesday." In the next panel, we see the coach closely examining the checklist on his clipboard to see who the players are. The important thing to remember is that our scouts liked you, even to send you here. There's a good chance you might have what it takes. We'll go in order of who showed up first to sign the roster, okay? Kent Clark. Here. Kent Clark, where the hell are you? Over here. You're Kent Clark? Clark Kent, yes. You sure you don't have a brother? Not as far as I know. Then the coach just takes his hat off and does the whole scratch his head with the bill of his hat like, "I can't believe this. Doesn't make sense. Pender's my best scout. Says you're the best he's seen, but he might as well have sent me a pine needle. Says here you play offense, defense, receiver, safety tackle, quarterback, halfback, linebacker. Never took him for a drinking man before. I'm here, may as well see if he's right. What do you have to lose? You signed the injury waiver releasing us from all claims." "Yes." "All right. Let's do a left tackle." And then it shows him going up against one of the biggest people that he has on his actual team. "You know, if you just lie down, we can pretend I put you down, and it won't hurt near as much." And then the quarterback starts speaking. 15, 27, 9, hot. And then Clark just plows through the guy. Not actually through, just knocks him out over. Well, you ever seen cow tipping? It's kind of like that, except he went in the air, and then he goes, "Oof!" As we see in the next panels, the quarterback starts to throw the football. But then, all of a sudden, he feels the football leave his hand. He looks in astonishment, and in the next panel, we see Clark Kent having the ball and running. To no surprise, he makes the touchdown. Now, with the next scene, with the coach going, "Okay, let's try wide receiver." Next panel, quarterback says the same thing. Hut! We see Clark jumping over everybody, and he just speeds past everyone to take a touchdown. Then we have the coach going, "Okay, quarterback. But I want you guys to let the defense tackles through. Dogpile him and see what happens." And then they all say, "Check, coach." If you ask me, it's probably a bad idea. Not for Clark, but for everyone else. Because in this next few scenes, we see Clark go, hut, and then next panel, we see a bunch of people crowding him as he says, hut, and speeds through everybody, and miraculously, again, makes another touchdown. Next panel, we see the assistant coach and coach talking. Assistant coach says, "Did you see?" Coach, "I saw." "Yeah, but did you?" "I saw."
Call the front office. Get a contract down here in half an hour.
But there's still another day of
29 minutes.
what'll I tell them to use for numbers?
Tell him to leave it blank. We'll put it in whatever he wants.
Right.
28 minutes.
Right.
Clark Kent, you and I need to talk.
Then with that, it starts the transition over to a laboratory. And a man says,
I appreciate you're coming to see us, Mr. Kent.
And that'll be the end of the first part of the book. This was mainly a test, just to see what all I could do. This isn't the definitive first video, but it is video 0. Anyway, with all that being said, I appreciate you guys taking the time to check this out. It is a new thing that I'm trying to do, and I would actually like to continue. Maybe not with this story, but with other stories down the line. And lastly, I would just like to say thanks for everyone that gave this video a chance. Again, it is a bit of an odd one, considering it is episode 0, and I've not really done this before, and it may be a bit rough, but down the line, I'm pretty sure that I got this. I'm positive I got it. And with that being said, thank you for taking the time to see this, and goodbye, everyone.